Alright, it's definitely been a bit, but I'm back, and definitely want to get into a few things regarding the NBA here. So, first things first is we actually have projections for the top five. At least there were top five for the standings as far as the NBA Finals. Okay, I guess now I'm looking at the East and the West, but I wanted to focus specifically on the top five for the league itself. And of course, right now, number one, ESPN NBA insiders have the Golden State Warriors with 36% of first place votes. Excuse me, in terms of projections for winning the NBA Finals in 2023. I could see that being the case as long as Steph, Clay, and Draymond are definitely healthy. I think you definitely have to consider Andrew Wiggins to still be a factor because he performed fantastically in the series. You could argue that he actually picked up some of the slack, at least scoring wise, that may or may not have been left by Draymond Green. But nonetheless, I mean, I think as long as all of them hold it together for this one last run, which could be the case because it seems Draymond is going to be a free agent. I believe Wiggins has one more year on his contract. I'm not really looking at all of that, and I don't plan to right now, but as I understand, those deals are coming up. But not far behind them, actually, quite a bit behind them, is the LA Clippers. I thought it was a little closer than that. They've got 26.3% of the vote. And this one's interesting to me because I get the addition of John Wall and other additions that I don't have off the top of my head right now. But provided that you have a healthy Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, yeah, I dare say so. In fact, I would say they're probably good enough to beat the Warriors. So, I'm not going to say no to that, but I need to know for a fact that we're going to see both Kawhi and Paul George out there and no more of this load management thing. I would say that at least 67 to about 73 games out of each of them would definitely be appropriate as far as having strong contention for where they would be in terms of winning the finals. But again, it's really, are they going to just hold up in the playoffs? And that still remains to be seen. That hasn't been the case pretty much the entire time both of them have been there. It's either been one or the other. And even when both were out there, they really didn't live up to the expectation at that point. So I believe we're year 3, 4 now into this whole thing, and I'm not sure about where things are going with them. But if all holds up as it is on paper, they're as good as anybody, probably better. That said, number 3 is the Boston Celtics with 10.5% of the vote. This is interesting to me because they've got a lot of their pieces back, but they brought in a Malcolm Brogdon and again Danilo Gallinari, and I want to say another piece, but I can't remember that one off the top of my head either. But just those two alone are going to be significant for solidifying both their depth in both the back and front courts. So I like what they're doing there. I could see them being at the top of the Eastern Conference and probably even getting back into the finals. It really depends, though, on number 4, and that being the Milwaukee Bucks, also 10.5% of the vote. And the thing to me about that is they have, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, and I'm going to say it all the way until all is said and done. The only one who, in my mind and in my personal opinion, I ever see surpassing Michael Jordan as the GOAT is Giannis Antetokounmpo. And you know what he's going to bring to the table? It's just a matter of will he have both Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday healthy. And it also depends on how they shore up the rest of the depth on the bench as well. I gotta take a look at that, but again, I'm not gonna go into that because I don't want to spend too much time on that in this video. But we're gonna round it off with number 5 being the Miami Heat with 5.3% of the vote. Now, for me, what I would love to see with the Miami Heat is for them to pick up someone who could give them size. They had a kid, I can't remember his last name, Nicola. Gosh, see, and like I said, I don't want to waste time looking that up right now because I want to keep this video as short as possible. But that would have been one thing I feel like if the Heat would address a little bit more of, I could see them being a little bit more of a threat, is just adding more size to the front court. I mean, Bam Adebayo has been good for the most part. He did kind of fall short in the playoffs and really hasn't been so great at all throughout, as far as I can tell. And this even goes back to the bubble, which he really would have been necessary in the finals because that firepower was just really needed to go along with Jimmy Butler and what Tyler Hero was doing. Goran Dragic was out, so again, another situation where guys going to stay healthy, especially Kyle Lowry, who was supposed to add to that. And I don't know. I mean, we're going to see when all this unfolds. I mean, it's funny that all this comes out and it's August 10th right now. We have no idea how this is going to pan out. I mean, we're really just a day away from the first preseason game of the NFL, and a lot of people are trying to make hay about, you know, who they think are going to be favorites in as far as the Super Bowl is concerned. And a lot of them are spot on, but that's a whole other conversation for a whole other time. Another thing I want to talk about is a situation regarding Kevin Durant, and of course, that's not what we want there. His trade demand, which has actually been a thing for quite some time. And then, of course, there was even a point where there was talk about him heading to the Phoenix Suns, which, in all honesty, I'm pretty much here for that because, I mean, having lived out in Arizona, I'm not necessarily a Suns fan per se. I like them. I am a Devin Booker fan, and the pairing of him and Kevin Durant would be awesome. And, of course, there was talk of him possibly going to Miami, but they're not going to give up pieces like Bam Adebayo and whatever else would be required to get him. And now at this point, he's wanting to either be traded or for Steve Nash and Sean Marks to be fired. Man, I mean, I'm really not even sure what to say about that at this point because it's not like it's a thing to where he's not going to get what he wants one way or the other. I do believe he ends up getting traded by the deadline, probably even before the All-Star break, but I guess it depends on how ramped up the offers are. But I certainly see a situation where he's no longer in Brooklyn. It's going to be interesting if he actually voluntarily plays in Brooklyn. But with the way things are going right now, I'm not real sure if I see that being the case. I mean, it doesn't seem like he's going to hold out, but man, just to put that ultimatum out there to the owner, you know, I can't imagine he wouldn't go as far as that. But who knows? I mean, that's really hard for me to say right now. And I had one more thing I wanted to go into here real quick before I wrapped up on this video. And let's see here. Okay, a lot of this is really a lot of the same stuff, but oh, okay. Yes, so it was predicted earlier, and I'm trying to get the name here. It's one of the new personalities for ESPN. And let's see, I'm not seeing it so far. I'll have to bring it up in another video or so. I don't really see where that's at right now. And yeah, it just seems that the Lakers are looking to be projected for 44.5 wins. That's interesting to me because I think it is realistic, but it's really going to depend because, again, we're talking about team where you've got a guy like Anthony Davis who really hasn't played enough of the season to actually convince me that that's going to be enough for about 44, 45 wins. And another thing for me is, how do Russ and LeBron coexist? For me, I think that it should actually work. But to me, at least based on what I've seen, Russ doesn't sacrifice enough of his game for that to work. And until that happens, I'm not sure if I can see any certainty on where the Lakers go from here. I don't think it's going to be up at this point, but who knows? We're a couple of months out from the season, so we'll see what happens. But let me know what you guys think down below. If you enjoy, like, share, subscribe. Coming up as soon as I can, and hopefully I can get this going before Dynamite starts. I've got some wrestling talk for you. Catch y'all later.